I got pulled out this Dungeon magazine, and it's one I actually have never even opened. You can see that even the spine of it is in good shape, but I don't know why I never opened this one, but just never have. And it has an awesome cover, which is like always the first thing that kind of draws you in. But it's, 22 years old. So I thought I would just kind of crack it open and see what I thought. And I love the artwork in these things, promoting new games and such. And of course, some of the advertisements are just awesome. So anyway, we've got 4 adventures in here. The Slave Vats of the Yuan Ti, which sounds awesome. Challenge of Champions 2. I don't know. I guess I don't know what that is. I don't know what Challenge of Champions 1 is. So, Stumping the Party and Sleep of Ages. So right now, just right off the bat, my eye goes to this one. And this is generally how I, whenever I'd get a new Dungeon magazine, I would just kind of skim it and see what immediately caught my eye. And I think most people are like that. But this one features the Yuan Ti, obviously, and of which I am a huge fan of those monsters. So, but before we do, we have a little editorial. Oh, Chris Perkins wrote that one. I forget how long he's been around. Let's see. Letters. This is something I miss. The letters from fans, where they sometimes would get into arguments with the writers. Those were always my favorite one, where they're like, I'm really. Oh, and here, in fact, I'm rather disappointed with the Saga adventure in issue 65. I love those where people would just get all, their feathers ruffled, and yeah, just great. Oh, geez, I can't turn the page. I actually have the door open outside, and it's a nice day out, but it's a little humid. So, let's see. Slave Vats of the Yuan Ti. Where does it start, though? I skipped a page. Let me see if I can get this separated. Here we go. That looks more like a Naga than a Yuan Ti, but hey, whatever. Into the Mirror. So what I generally would do is kind of page through, and I kind of want to know what levels is this for. 4 to 6 PCs, levels 3 to 5, total of 20 levels. Yeah, so here we've got the overview with some interesting NPCs. Let's see. Cool maps, of course. I don't know. The first thing I always like to do is kind of skim through until I start finding what kind of monsters we're going to be facing. So we have scorpions, giant wasps, and I always love this, where you have a little handout for your players. Of course, these days you can scan them and actually hand them out, and make one of your players read them. I always hated reading aloud. I always try to paraphrase everything whenever we get box text, because, I don't know, it just always feels so forced when you just read aloud. So our first Yuan Ti makes an appearance here. Esaur Enoch, Pureblood Yuan Ti. And it's a thief of 10th level with 36 hit points. Wow. And we got levels 3 to 5 facing this guy. He's got a dagger of venom. He could be rather tough for a party, especially if he uses stealth to duck in and out of combat. That could be rather dangerous. And here we have Shan Hisai. I don't even know. Sai, I guess it would be. Human Yakuza. So we've got some Japanese flavor in there. Special attack. Special kung fu maneuvers. So he's Yakuza, but he uses kung fu instead of karate. Interesting. Okay, well, whatever. Let's see. Giant Elder Cobra. Again, you're thinking 3rd to 5th level characters are going to fight this thing. With only 19 hit points, he's going to get destroyed. He can mesmerize for as long as the Cobra concentrates. But I wonder, if there's 5 characters that is going to be... Here we have our next Yuan Ti. This is a mage of 7th level. And if you think about it, 7th level mage is going to have things like Fireball and Lightning Bolt and stuff, and that can ruin a party's day. But it does not look like this mage has taken those spells. He's got like Polymorph Other and so forth. Interesting. But in any case, this looks fun. A lot of times, well, probably 95% of the time, when I would get an adventure like this that it looks interesting to me, I would completely overhaul it. I might use the characters and NPCs and general storyline from it, but I would recreate a lot of what the guts of it is and kind of make it my own. But I always ran what do you call them? Homebrew. So oftentimes when you run homebrew, you have to modify these adventures to fit your needs. You're never going to be running them as is unless you're just kind of doing one shots, but in any case, this is turning out to be an interesting issue. I don't know why I never took a look at it. Look at all the player handout. This is something that I wish they would get back to. Player handouts. This is like, you saw these like in the Tomb of Horrors and Expedition to the Barrier Peaks, several others like that, where you would have artwork to hand out to your players to help with descriptions and so forth. But I often find that a lot of times they're not used. Like, if you had, say, a particular puzzle, like this is a great use right here. This looks like, the players come in on one platform and they have to get to the other. But describing it, sometimes you could throw that out there and then add any additional descriptions you want. And that's a great use of it. But just to introduce a character, I'm not really sure. This is interesting. A guy getting dipped into a bubbling vat. He looks like that's a fry dip at McDonald's where they're gonna just drop the fries in, and unfortunately that guy's the fry. So let's see if we have any more. Oh, we do. More player handouts. These are great. You gotta love them. But in any case, Nodwick. I remember Nodwick. Side treks. Now these were great. These were just like 1 and 2 page adventures that started in Dungeon Magazine, like in the mid '90s, I think. I guess it could have been the early '90s. But in any case, just a quick little like inn at the side of the road, or just a tavern or whatever. Just a quick little encounter that you could integrate in your party, and it could just be. It didn't have to be anything elaborate. It was just, maybe they're traveling from point A to point B, and you need something to spice up the road. And this would be great for that. An encounter with spiders and ettercaps. It's simple, it's classic, and it's just awesome. So, and there's you gotta love that. Think about that. That is a vertical, giant ant style dungeon. So you have, rather than level tunnels and so forth, you're going to have lots of slopes and shafts that fall straight down or kind of diagonally. But that is a great map, and that could be used and reused so many times. That is awesome. Let's see what else we got here. Sleep of Ages, Heroes and Tyrants. And we've got a dragon. So, yeah, awesome. you know, I've heard so many times from people when I would GM at the game store or whatever, you know, it's Dungeons and Dragons, but I've never actually faced a dragon before. I remember there was this guy, he was much older than I was. He probably was in his 60s and been playing since the 70s, and he had never once faced a dragon, and he plays Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, how much more painful could that be? But so I put together, just right off the bat, I put together an encounter to integrate into our little game with a dragon, and that was a lot of fun. He was really happy. So especially since it was a close one, they fought a black dragon in its lair with lair actions, and it was pretty tight. So cool. Well, I hope you guys enjoy this one. I'm gonna go get to work on some. Oh, here we go. White Plume Mountain with Black Razor. Such great art, inspired, of course, by Lord Elric and Stormbringer, of course. So, in any case, signing off. You guys have a good one.